5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Corsicana, Texas. What's up, DFW? What's up, Houston? We are back in the house with episode number 5. We coming back at you. We are the Burning Coals Podcast. This is where we say what needs to be said. I am your co-host, the Mr. Know-It-All. I am the point guard of the show. So listen, if you have not subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscription button. Make sure you go to the Burning Coals Podcast. We are on all social media platforms, media outlets. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We're on Twitter and Twitch. But guess what, you guys? This is one of our big shows, one of our favorite shows. But before we get started, I want to introduce you to the starting lineup. Here we go. Yes, indeedy. Here we go. A power forward. She goes by the name of Miss Educated Queen, class of 99 with Corsicana High School. At shooting guard, we got the one and only out of Dallas, Carter. The shooting guard goes by the name of Gentleman Jamal. And at center, we got the big fella in the middle, class of 97, Corsicana High School. The big fella in the middle who's blocking all the shots, the center of attention. We got Bougie Weirdo, B-Dub. What's up? How you guys doing over there? Tell us something good for this weekend.
Let's do it.
You guys are ready to rock and roll?
Feeling good.
Yes. Jim and Jamal, how was your weekend, my friend? How was everything?
I'm here. I just came back from out of town. Just came back from Minnesota. Weather was nice, like a high of 79 or something like that. You come to 100 in hell in Texas, but I'm here. Let's do it.
Right. So you glad to be back at the house?
It's always good being back, and it's a great state, baby.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I saw
of America's team and the next people.
So listen, Jim Jamal, I saw that you posted on your platform on social media, being there at the George Floyd Memorial, and that thing looked crazy. Like I saw all the pouring out love that that people showed towards the area where everything happened, there where he was killed. Was it Cups Food? That's where it was at. That took place at Cups Food.
Yeah, on a Cups Food.
Okay.
They actually named that area George Floyd Square.
Okay.
So as you can see, the a lot of the memorial, all that's still there. They got it roped off and everything. So it hit different being there. I can say that
right.
From watching TV and actually seeing it, it had a different hit to it. Definitely touched me. Learned a lot, and another little tool in the toolbox, and I'm gonna use going forward. So.
Right. Okay, man. Yeah, that's a blessing, man. So I saw that. So I definitely wanted to ask your thoughts and opinions about that one. So, but yeah, that was very it was inspiring to actually see that. So appreciate you for sharing that.
A little sad, but it was also an inspiration at the same time. So
right, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Bougie Weirdo, man. How was your weekend, my friend?
I mean, it was good. It was good. Not too much going on. I work on the weekends, so staying busy. So everything's everything. Just ready for this little one to come.
Man, yeah, man. It's getting closer and closer and closer.
Yes,
Are your
sir.
palms and everything sweaty behind it?
Nah, I mean, I'm keeping it kind of cool. At least I'm playing like it.
Yeah,
We'll see how I feel in another month or two when it really get time.
yeah. Oh man, that's a blessing, there, brother. That's a blessing. Congratulations as well. As far as me on my end, there was not a whole lot that I did this weekend. Just I had to work Saturday night. So, but other than that, man, just rested, took it easy, enjoyed some time, FaceTiming my kiddos and things like that. So, yeah, man, that was pretty much it. Speaking of, FaceTime my kiddos, my daughter, she just had a back surgery. She has scoliosis. Yeah. So she got some screws and some rods in her back. So she's probably now a month into the surgery. Well, having the surgery, she's like a month now. She's healing. She's going through rehab and everything like that, whatever, man. But we got some good news saying that everything is going according to plan. So,
Good.
but she's in a whole lot of pain, man. I hate saying it like that too, but
That's hard for a father to see his daughters in any kind of pain.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. And you know what? I tell you this, brother, when you have to see that, man, I wish I can just take all the pain away from her. I wish she could just give me that pain and let her just, be painless, because yeah, she, to see her how active she was in the beginning before all this. And now she's just, laying in the bed and trying to, need help getting up and, and taking a shower and, everything she got to go through with that. It's hurtful to see it, but she's getting stronger. Huh?
I said definitely sending healing energy to her.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that a lot, fellas. Appreciate that a lot. Okay, well, we're gonna definitely get started with the topic of conversation. But before we start, everybody, we make sure that you go to the Burning Coals podcast. We're going to we'll be on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and we're going to be on Facebook as well. So make sure you go there and you subscribe, hit that notification bell. Okay, well, we're going to definitely get started. Whoa, I just got some, y'all hear that? I just got some feedback going on here. Everybody, make sure that you go to. I'm sorry. I know what that is. Hold on. We're going to hold on Instagram, Twitter. You guys, sorry about that. You know what I did? I turned the volume on my computer here, and that echo got back inside. Boy, I tell you. Let me get this straightened up here. Let me hit the mute button here. Say it again.
Young man, come on, point guard.
Right.
Come on.
Right. My bad. There we go. Got everything working right now. So we are going to talk about today's topic.
Let's talk about it. I wanna talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Today's trending topic is the community churches in our community, and we have been seeing a bunch of news out there. Whether it's been in Brooklyn, the robbery that happened at that church. There was another church in San Francisco, not San Francisco, but I know there was a church in California. I believe it was Sacramento, where there was some church people inside that church that got killed inside that church. I forget, it was like the number of people was like 9 to 10 people that got killed inside that church. So, and then we also got a group of people that's going around doing these church blitzes. We got the Israelites doing these church blitzes at name any big pastor that's out there. They've been going to the churches, blitzing these churches, and asking the the pastors to actually preach, what they're supposed to be preaching instead of this prosperity preaching that's going on, what they're doing inside the churches now. So, but it seems as if this has been a hot summer. It's a hot boy summer as far as like with the Christian churches in our communities. And my question to you guys is this. All right. And when Educated Queen when she get on live, we'll definitely talk with her and get her thoughts and opinion about it as well. How do you guys feel about everything that's going on inside the Christian community churches, our churches? Because I know exactly how I feel about it, and I'm very passionate about it because I'm a spiritual individual. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts about it, and we'll take turns as talking and giving our points of view about exactly what's going on. And people in the comment section as well. If you guys are listening, definitely put your comments and thoughts there so we can definitely read them. But we want you guys to tell us what you guys think about everything.
Now tell them to call up.
Right. I'm have to put the call number into the screen here. Hold on.
B-Dub, go ahead and go in.
Well, I mean, like you, Mr. Know-It-All, I'm a very spiritual guy. I haven't been in the church in a while and it's just from my own personal experiences. Like, when you go to church, you expect to learn something, to be inspired and all this kind of stuff. And the church is supposed to be a pillar in the community to help. And, I just wasn't really seeing that. I seen a lot of people helping the church, but I ain't seen the church really helping nobody back. So, they say, apparently all you need is 2 or more to come in his name and you have church. So, I can have church at home with my wife. I ain't got to go and deal with that foolishness. But I don't know, man. That's a tough one because, if the churches did what they were supposed to do, if they served the purpose they were supposed to serve, or at least we feel like they're supposed to serve, I think it's a great thing to have. But in recent times, we just not seeing that. Like you said, we get a lot of prosperity preaching. You got preachers want to flash and outdo everybody, and like the guy, what's his name, Whitehead up in Brooklyn, kind of touched on earlier. Like, that's just madness. Like, and then there's so much, they put so much pressure on people. Because I'll tell you, one of the last times I went to church, my mom, she always tried to get me to go. I would go every now and again, but I promise you, last time I went, it felt like they passed the collection plate at least 10 times. And I pay my tithe. So when the tithes come around, and it depends on how I feel. One day I might be feeling Ben Franklin, the next day I might be feeling George Washington, or the next Sunday I might be feeling George Washington, whatever I feel in my heart that day. And I remember they passed it around. I don't remember what it was for. So I dropped a little something in there. Then they passed it around again for the tithes and offerings. I dropped a little something in there. Then they passed it around again. I'm done. And it was so funny because they passed at least 4 times, because the lady sitting next to me, by that 3rd time she passed it, I slid it on over to my wife. She slid it on over to my brother, and we just kept on going. And then so the next time it came around, the lady, she was like, this is for so-and-so. She was trying to explain to me what it was for, and it was for a good cause, because she seen that 3rd time we skipped it. So I took it. I passed it on to my little brother, and I told him what she told me. Hey, it's for a good cause, such and such and such. Do your thing. And she kind of looked at me, gave me a little look, but I don't be tripping on that, because, we supposed to go, far as attending, we supposed to go and praise our Lord. Now, that's another part of it too, because it's when you go to these churches, who God are you actually praising and serving is the real question that I'm sure we're gonna delve off into very shortly. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna just say, man, I'm very spiritual, but as far as the church, me feeling like the church is doing their part, these in recent times, I just don't see it, and I don't feel the need to go.
Right. And my stance on it is this, B Dub, and I hear exactly what you're saying. My last time that I went to a church service, and it was because when I grew up in a Baptist church. I grew up in, I've been to a Christian church, non-denominational church. I also went to a Kojic church as well, and a God of Christ church as well. And I felt in my spirit that I was not being taught anything at all, because only thing that I was taught was, only thing I can tell you that I remember from learning since when I was going to church, I can tell you about all the pagan holidays that we're not supposed to be worshiping. I can tell you about, God, Mary had a little lamb and feet as white as snow. I can tell you about that. I can pretty much single jingle to that song right there. But to me, when the last time I was in a church, it was last year, right around the wintertime, January, February, in that area, when I was living in Boston, Massachusetts. And just from all the churches that I've been in, it just seems so worldly, man. It's almost equivalent to going to what I call the Christian churches now. It's almost like watching a wrestling match on TV. Only thing you're missing is your popcorn and your drinks. But it seems like all these pastors and these churches, just like in WWE, when one legendary wrestler career is over with, they looking for the next wrestler, big name to take on, to be the brand of the WWE. And that's how it is. And that's how I feel like it is with the Christian churches as well. Because now, you got a lot of these pastors, these old pastors that, time is, their time has, came and went, but then they're looking for some of these new guys like what's the name of that guy in Houston? The motivational speaker / pastor. Is it Keon Henderson? That's his name. Who?
Pastor Keon. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's been trending. He's been trending all over the place, And it seemed, like I told you, I equate that to watching like a WWE match. They looking for somebody to hold the mantle to be the face of a lot of these churches and whatnot. But what made me want to just leave these churches is because, again, it's like a lights, camera, action. Once they start the church service up, you got it's become normal for the world to come inside the church and stay there in the church, and there's no type of transformation whatsoever, no repentance. They don't teach no repentance. They don't teach anything to say, hey, you know what? Yes, you came in this way, but you don't have to stay this way, and you have to also be willing and be able to change the way your mindset is, what your train of thought is, and they don't teach that at all. And also, while I'm talking about that as well, is you also have your elders inside the church. They don't have a clue on exactly what it is that church or the pastor is teaching them. Whatever, they have no leadership at all. There's no shepherd inside the church. You have a bunch of wolves that's there teaching everybody inside the church. And I just decided that with everything that I've been through with actually going inside the church, just like B-Dub said, two or more can definitely come together. And, you have to read your Bible and read, read things for yourself. And that's exactly what I started doing. And I've learned a whole lot. And I give the Most High all the praises and the glory for that as well. And I'm glad that he opened my eyes to get me out of that sleep and slumber that I was in. Because I was in sleep and slumber for a long time trying to seek him out.
That's some good stuff. Good stuff. And I want to kind of add to what y'all are saying. I don't go to church because since I believe God of the Bible says, I am the church. I think a lot of what people are going to are just gatherings. I wouldn't even call the mess that I see in these places of worship church. Because if it's church, if it's symbolic of the God of the most high God, and God is love and God is a spiritual being, then everything we do inside of that place of worship should be reflective of that spiritual being. However, you have shepherds, aka bishops, apostles, evangelists, prophets, prophetesses, whatever you want to call all these people with these titles who are just men and women, and they're no better than the government. They act like men and women who are in leadership in the government. They're doing the same thing, robbing people blind. Everything we do should reflect the Most High. It should be loving one another, respecting one another, helping one another, lifting each other up, bearing one another's burdens. When we go into fellowship or into worship, we should be doing those same things, empowering one another, empowering each other. We don't do that. Now, I can say this. Back in the old church, yeah, all they knew was to worship a white Jesus. All they knew. And they prayed to a God that they believed in from generations and generations before them. But this stuff that we're seeing in church, I found out some of these preachers be preaching the same thing on Sunday. So you mean to tell me the Most High God is going to give Mr. Know-It-All, Gentleman Jamal, and Bougie Weirdo, and EQ, he's going to give all of us the same song? Probably not. Because everybody is not. Now these pastors and leaders are downloading these actually they're motivational speeches. They're downloading
That's right.
them in the pulpit on Sunday morning. And I used to be pro every time the doors open. That years ago. Sitting in a church service, I was singing in the choir and I was just listening to the sermon, and I told my friends, and they appealed. If a man can appeal to a woman's emotions, thing he wants from her. If a woman emotions, she's anything she wants from him. Most churches are filled with women, so most pulpits emotions of women. Okay, women, what do we do? So yeah, you're gonna come out your $100 seed, seed in no church. No, tithe and offering. Okay, but that's what's happening in our the book of Ezekiel in chapter 30. He talks about how God was disappointed in the shepherds because they started being greedy. Was profit them. It wasn't to care for the sheep. Shepherds nurture. These preachers ain't nurturing nobody. You going to having all these services. I'm not leaving empowered. I'm leaving broke. I done paid $50 $25 for the t-shirt. I gotta pay $25 for the CD. I'm broke. Empowerment. Our sanctuary. First ministry. So if you want to have 3 my name, I'm in the midst. So hey, that's right here. Well, we're having conversation, we're having dialogue, we're educating one another.
Right.
And we're doing respectfully, we're doing it out of love. We're not doing it or we trying to outshine people. We're trying to educate our kids. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And it's like I said,
right.
All this leadership
the
in
church,
these churches,
the church is trendy now.
y'all are blind. It's going to the club. It's just we have good church. Everybody want to dance in the church. What are you dancing for? Because you sleeping with the pastor? Because the pastor bought a Bentley?
Well,
paid your bill? Let's talk about it.
EQ, but and that goes to show EQ. That goes to show that when inside the church right now, inside the church, we are normalizing the world inside the church. We are bringing the world inside the church, and at first, people be very outspoken about it. Like, man, you know what? This don't feel right. Like when they first started doing praise dances, people was in the beginning. People was like, whoa, wait a minute, praise dancing, But then you got some pastor or you got somebody inside the church that says, you know what? No, you dancing for the Lord, Now, next thing you know, the praise that, because the first praise dancers, they started out covering themselves. They had the dresses on and, they danced. Now they took that completely off. And then, like, surely, slowly but surely, they start indoctrinating, saying, hey, look, ain't nothing wrong with praise dancers or whatever. Now they walking around with their, their tights on and their leggings on and, women showing their curvatures. And I mean, it's on and on and on, but they it's one of those type of things where they start you out real slow, something that you feel that is not normal. And then you be inside the church for so long, you seeing it and you don't want to put up no fight about it. Then now it becomes normalized. You see what I'm saying? It becomes normalized. And nobody says nothing about it. So they've done that with the with the secular music, with the praise and worship dancing, and now you got the so-called hip hop Christian stuff, hip hop music like gangster rap. They changed it into hip hop, rap inside the churches. And I saw somebody post about a couple of days ago at a revival, at a youth revival, where they had this rapper was, they made flyers and everything, almost like you go into a club scene. All right. They made flyers of this guy, this rapper, with the youth revival. And they had him on stage with a bunch of kids on there. They all rapping and whatnot, but they end up, it was to the point to where the guy who was rapping, it's like he jumped in the crowd and they carrying the guy around in the sanctuary. And I'm saying to myself, oh man, come on, we got to do better than that. That's like, what did those kids learn from that experience, like being in a club or going to a concert type of experience inside that church?
They ain't learn nothing.
Nothing.
They ain't learn nothing.
Right. So go ahead. I'm sorry, EQ. Go ahead.
Well, the thing is,
trendy
nothing
now.
is sacred anymore. Yeah,
Nope.
everything is worldly. It's nothing is sacred anymore. Nothing. I mean, anything goes in church nowadays, and it's sad, but that's just where we are. Anything goes.
Go ahead, B Dub. You had something.
I'll let you get trendy now. Being in the church is trendy now. Being pastors is trendy now. That's why you see the pastors getting younger and younger and more worried about their social media followings and setting up fake robberies so they can scam insurance companies for $1 million. But that's all. I know you got a lot to put out there, so I'm gonna let you get yours off.
Nah,
hey, you're right. I mean,
okay, so
I don't even want to get on that one. Go ahead, gentleman Jamal. I'm eager to hear what you got to say.
We can go. This one, when this topic came up, I knew this could be dangerous, right? Because I know how black society views the black church. It's very sacred. And if you really want to go there, we have to go all the way back to how we even get to the point we are now. If anybody does any kind of investigative work, journalism work, whatever, you start at the beginning. How did we get to the black church, Christianity, whatever? That's a whole nother story. I won't go that part, but I do want to dovetail, because I'm going to skip over that, because we're going to dovetail it to last week's show. And there was an article about the decline of the black man in the church. So I'm gonna just spend a few minutes on that, because just last week we was talking about the decline of the black man in areas of society, one being the black church. Let's be clear, because it's not an attack on the black church. The black church has been a pillar in Black society since we got here. So I'm not here to attack the Black church. Why are Black men leaving the church? Right? A couple reasons. Number one, you have typically a Black male who is, you know, the star of the event. I'm very careful with my words here. Who's on the stage, who's in the pulpit. He's typically the best dressed guy in the building, right? He typically has the nicest car on the premises, on the campus. How do you know? Because he has his own spot. So all you gotta do is walk in the church. There's the pastor's car with his sign reserved for the pastor, right? It's gonna be something nice, mainly something foreign, 6 figures or better. He comes out, Tom Ford suit, nice shoes, fly, charismatic, right? And so you have a Black man there. Let's say he's there with his old lady, with his significant other, his wife, his boo, whoever. Oh, she's falling out. Oh my, oh, look at him. He's this, he's this. Then he goes off into this, what we need. I need 500 y'all to come down here with 500. And there she goes, taking off full speed, taking the dang light bill money to whatever money. After she done tires, be like, okay, it takes money to run the church. So I'm not stupid. It takes money because church is a business first. We can't.
It is.
That's not even how
Right.
the conversation. It's a business. You have franchises of churches. I won't go there. I'm gonna be very PC this show. We'll do another one where we'll take that part. Church is a business. So after he's collected, as B. Doug referenced, then there's kind of this other extra love offering to the whoever. And then the pastor, I need 500 people to run down here. And here y'all goes running down there, throwing herself, passing out, throwing a little money that y'all got to the pulpit on the altar, to the pastor who has a 6-figure car, who has the nice suits, right? Who everyone knows what kind he has a nice, he's very unapologetic about the status that he has obtained. While the members mostly, they're not doing that well. And the ones that are doing well, you can identify them because they got their own little section that I ain't gonna even go there. Let me push on. So I see my old lady run down there, throwing all the money. We barely making ends meet. But the little wee guy, she going down there throwing at this man's feet, and he probably done slept with, I ain't gonna even go there. Let me shut up. And so Black men are like, man, you know what? This is not a place for me. I don't think I need to be here. Because logically, we like, where all this, how we even get to this point, right? And again, I'm not criticizing the Black church in the sense of they hadn't done any good, because as EQ mentioned, the old church, this is how you got civil rights, right? Those pastors, they were on some different stuff. They were all about community. Churches used to buy land around them. They had land banks. They bought up the property around them for their people. It wasn't about the pastor obtaining this kind of superstar, rock star status. It was truly about community. They would feed you. They would have clothing drives. They would do voting, campaigns and stuff like that. Not so much now. I'm not saying all, because there's gonna be some listeners like, well, not my pastor. Not okay. Everybody but yours. How about that? Everybody except your pastor is doing it. But we all know these mega churches, most of them, there's some kind of scandal on the pastor. And we'll justify it. The devil was attacking it. He's sleeping with, did I say that? Okay. He gets excused for all these actions. Instead of getting all these, he'll step down, take a sabbatical, come back. Right. And then somehow the business, now his son or daughter is head of the music ministry because God called him to do ministry. And then the wife is, everybody somehow in his family is chosen. So God just picked you and everybody that you married and your offspring have all been chosen. No, it's a business. They are in charge of this section of the business.
Right.
It's not how it was. They talking about he was chosen. No, he wasn't chosen. He was hired.
Right.
They pick pastors like they pick draft picks sometimes. Oh, he has this kind of following. He has this kind of this. He's charismatic. He has this kind of swag. And they pick him because they know they're going to bring in the dollars. They're going to bring in the crowds, right? So I'm not criticizing in the sense that they have never served a purpose and all that. But if y'all really want to get into it on another show, I'm going to land my plane here. You got to, where you get this from in the beginning. Forget we dealing with the symptoms. We're not dealing with the actual cause of all of this. But that's another show, and I'll leave it right there.
But it starts, in our churches, it starts with that man of God, man. You had took this, this mantle, that you're God's, mouthpiece, and say, hey, look, I'm putting you in charge and responsible of my sheep, because my sheep are very, very, seeking, wanting to know me. And we want you to, I'm put you in charge of them or whatnot, because I want you to make sure that they're safe, So when you take up that responsibility to get on that pulpit and say, God, you can trust me with your sheep, that's something very, very, very serious, and you cannot take lightly at all. So all the shenanigans that go on inside the church, with these pastors playing like they are, somebody special, and they're doing what they're doing, man, I just can't sit right with that at all, man. And us as Christian people, we have the right. If you are a believer, you go in First Corinthians chapter 5, I forget what verse it is, whatnot. But if you are a believer, it says you have the right to be able to judge a believer, and not a non-believer. You're not supposed to judge non-believer, because a non-believer don't know no better. But if you are a believer of the word, and you believe in God's word, you have the right to be able to judge them when they are doing something wrong. And a lot of these men of God, or you have a lot of these deacons and apostles and whatnot, they don't want you to say anything when it comes to talking or speaking your piece about what's going on. Hence, therefore, that's the reason why we have the problem that we have right now. That's why our communities are in shambles right now. That's why when you go see you go to some of these big mega churches that's right smack in the middle or right next door to our communities, that's ran down right next door to the prostitute is on that corner. You got the person that's selling liquor and beer on that corner. You got a drugstore, drug person on that corner, and those churches right smack in the middle, and nobody want even better eye to go and say anything or try to help nobody inside that community, because like you said, it's all about glamour and glitz. Look at me. I got this. I'm a pastor, bishop. I'm a doctor. I got all this education behind me. It's a show, man. It's a show. And it's very heartbreaking to see our people in that condition, man. A lot of these churches, they're not going to allow their congregation to go out and speak out or be quiet about what goes on inside that church. And a lot of those people that's inside the congregation, they will go hell and high water for that pastor, that man of God who's got them like that. They won't talk against that man whatsoever,
because they're sleeping with him.
Right. and see, how we got here, everybody's going to have their opinion. It's debatable, but the facts are, this is where we are now, where, like I said, church is trendy and it's become political. The church, I think you, Mr. Nordahl, kind of alluded to it earlier, maybe EQ, that the church used to be different and kind of separate from the world, but now the church is just a reflection of the world. It's political, because Gentleman Jamal said it back in the day, the church, when you talk about the civil rights movement and all this stuff, but if you look at those pictures, you don't know who the pastor is. Right. Because the pastor looked just like every other man in the church.
Right.
Now, you definitely know who the pastor is. And if you didn't know, they're going to make sure you know, like you said, with the parking spot, He got the big fancy chair that he's sitting in, and everybody sit in the smaller chairs. And it's just like politics. And the key word here is sheep, right? So how did Donald Trump win the election in 2016? He got out there. He did something that a lot of people haven't done in a while. He actually got out and hit the campaign trail, went to all the backwoods, all the married cousins. He went out there to everybody that he is levels above, but he made them feel like, hey, if you vote for me, you could be a part of this. That's the same thing happened in the church. This is why the pastors have turned into peacocks. Now they got to show everything they got, because now they've convinced people that, hey, if you pay them tithes, if you give to the church and you show the Lord's, the Lord's apostles some love, you could get blessed like I got blessed. But it's false, and it's really a Ponzi scheme, because the blessings ain't got nothing to do with God. The blessings is him convincing you to keep giving the money.
Right.
So you are the blessing. You are the blessing for the fact that you're not really using your own mind and your common sense, because a lot of people just follow blindly. And like you said, if you are a true believer, you have every right to say, hold on, Pastor, I don't know if this is right. Like, we gotta fix this. But the trick of it is now these pastors convince people that you can't do that. I'm the chosen one, and you have no right to judge me, and I can do whatever I want. And then, like Jim and Jamal said, when they come up with these outside babies and all these scandals going on, oh, the devil, I'm human, the devil can get to me too sometimes. No. Yeah, you are a human, but you're supposed to be different. Right. You're supposed to be different when it comes to that. The devil ain't supposed to be able to get to you. How you gonna tell me about not letting the devil get in my heart and my spirit? And you got 4 outside babies. You got a whole drug connection going on. Like, come on. Right, but the people just sitting there like, and now we're in this time and place in America where, especially for Black people, like, and I'm gonna be honest, like, this kind of bothers me a little bit. We forgive too freaking easy. We be so quick to just, well, you don't know their story, or well, it could happen to anybody, or what? No, certain people are not supposed to do certain things. Like, I'm sorry, if you talking about the Uncle Willie on the corner who been dealing with addiction for a long time, of course the devil gonna get to him sometime. Even if he turn his life around, he might do good for 3 or 4 years, and he might backslide. But you are not supposed to be that guy. You the man that's supposed to. You're supposed to be the ultimate example of how to live Christ-like, and you are doing everything but that.
Right. Hey, we got some. We continue to give them a pass. Yeah, we got some comments. Let me read some comments, okay? Yeah. Barbara Sims she says it's just a social club. You go in these churches one way and come out the same way you went in. No changes whatsoever. And she says, you are so right, EQ. And Derek Nathan, thank you for joining, brother. He says, good evening. Just tuning in. Long life conversation that have to be had for a while. Hi, Mrs. Sims. And Derek Nathan gave a thumbs up, and Sims says, what's up, Derek? Glad you're home. Marilyn Williams, appreciate you for joining. She says, God is going to hold them to a higher standard. And then she says, the pastors are lost, which make the congregation lost. Blind leading the blind is what Marilyn Williams said. And then Barbara Sims said they have more degrees than a thermometer, pastors, and still can't knock the devil's head off his head. No power whatsoever.
I'm with you.
And Marilyn Williams says, no, not 4 babies. Yes, they are to be held accountable for no one. No one is excluded. And we agree. No one is definitely excluded. Like I said, especially when you take up that mantle and say that, you know what, God, you can trust me with your sheep. I'll even die for my sheep, you know. But these people, these pastors that's over these churches, you know, they are the sheep are coming in the front, but they're going out the back, falling to their doom, you know, falling to the black abyss.
Being slaughtered. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, you know. Matter of fact, speaking of that, there was a cartoon illustration that I saw on Facebook. That was a church steeple. It was hanging on the edge of a cliff, big old nice drop too, man. And the congregation was coming in the front of the church. Well, in the back of the church, people just falling down the back to their death. You know, off the side of this cliff of this church. And I said, you know what, man? Whoever put that illustration there, brilliant.
That's right.
Absolutely genius for that, because I'm saying to myself, that's exactly what's going on now, man. You know, these church houses, they open up and people are just, you know, expiring on a regular basis every single day. So let me ask you guys this, okay? I want to ask you guys this question here. Do you guys believe that politics and religion, is that going hand in hand, or is that two totally different entities there? Politics and religion.
Absolutely. Churches have become political, and it's not that it's a bad thing, but I don't think politics should rule the church, because government was established in the Bible. Okay, so now government is trying to mandate what these men and women of God can say over the air and over the pulpit, because of course we're going into this, you know, gender equality stuff. And so they're kind of having to filter what they're saying. But I want to give a disclaimer in light of all of this. I'm not saying every there is bad, and every, you know, I do believe that there are some pastors out there that are doing what they're supposed to do, and they live right, and they're trying to do what's in the best interest of the people. But at some point, we as people of God or believers in Christ or whatever, we have to take some ownership for everything that's going on. First of all, we got to get in that book and study it for ourselves, because
Amen.
The Bible says, let no man deceive you. He said, put your trust in no man. So you got to study the word to show yourself approved, a workman that need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Okay, well, most preachers can't give you the word according to the Bible because they haven't spent any time in it. That's just like me. If I go teach an English lesson to, and if I'm not studying and looking at what my kids need to know, that's going to help them move from 6th grade to 7th grade, then guess what? Then that's on me. As a teacher, I failed my students. But at some point, parents got to say, okay, well, let me help my child. And that's how we have to take that. We can't expect the pastor to do it all for us. First of all, our relationship with God starts at home. It doesn't start at church. It should be an individualized thing daily. Whether you pray, meditate, read, ask, whatever your method of connection is, that's on you. But if I'm smart enough to know, if I go into a business and I look at the business owner and I know he doesn't have good service, good food, or whatever it is, whatever kind of business it is, I'm gonna get out of there. I don't have to put my money there. And that's the same thing with church. I don't have to be in attendance anywhere where I'm not getting fed. I don't have to give my money anywhere that I know where it's for the profit of the pastor. See, some things are on us. Because if you know this pastor is doing it, why would you go keep feeding it? Why would you keep supporting somebody they're called the hireling? If you go to the book of Revelation, it talks about the hireling. And that's what these preachers who are out here, or these leaders who are out here preaching and teaching and running churches for profit, for their own profitable gain. Okay, so at some point you have to say, you know what, let me get to know the Most High God for myself. Develop a relationship with him. Let me be led by him through the Spirit, or whatever it is that you believe in. You know, stop looking to man, because man will deceive you. We know for ourselves. Hey, we've said and done things our own selves that wasn't right. So we know we do it in these men, even though these men claim to be called by God. In the book of Titus, it tells you all about pastors. If you go to, I believe, 1st or 2nd Timothy, it talks about, you know, the office of a bishop and all this type of stuff. So at some point, you got to take some ownership for your own understanding. That way you can't be deceived by it. Because if you fill yourself with knowledge, guess what? Nobody can take that from you. But a lot of
Right.
people are dying spiritually because they put their trust in the wrong thing. They following
Right.
behind people who don't have their best interest, let alone their souls. So it's
Right.
time we wake up as a people and say, you know what? Hey, brother, you can be called, and those people, if they want to follow you, they can, but I'm not going to follow you because I'm
Right.
not fixing to give you my light bill money. No Bible. And if y'all find that for me, that must be the new Negro translation, because I ain't found that in the King James, the American Standard Bible, the NIV. But I ain't seen that one. So you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
we
Right.
just got to
Right.
take some ownership for ourselves.
Right. So, B-Dub, Gentleman Jamal, does religion and church, are they entwined with each other?
They are now. It didn't used to be, and it's not necessarily supposed to be. But EQ made a good point. Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing completely, because the church has power in the community. So if when done right, when under the right leadership, I wouldn't have a problem with the church influencing politics in the community, particularly in local government, because that's where the real power is. That's who has the true effect on the community. So yeah, I find that it's starting to intertwine, but I just think that it's going, personally, my personal opinion, it's going in the wrong direction. Because when you got a church and the churches can come together and say, hey, this district seat or this council seat, this is what affects our community. And when you vet people out and say, okay, this person is not good for our community, so everybody got to do their own due diligence, but here's some information of why we believe that this person is going to be better to serve our community versus this person. I'm cool with that, because that's the whole point, is guidance and leadership. The pastor is supposed to guide us and lead us in worship in Christ. And this is a new day and time. So, and politics is plays a strong part in the community. We talking about what does the church do for community? What does the government do for the community? Because it's the same thing. You got a lot of people in government that's doing the same exact thing. They're taking these positions, manipulating them for profit, and not doing what the position is supposed to be doing for the community. And we have to come together on that. Like here in Houston, if anybody ever been to Houston, or if you ever come to Houston, I'm gonna tell you this: go find a area of Houston called Bel Air, Bel Air, Sharpstown-ish area. You just ride through there, and you will see that it is a highly Asian community. But what you also gonna see, every billboard, every real estate billboard, you're gonna see Asian person. The city council people that sit over that district, Asian. They even have streets now that are dual sign streets, where it has a regular street name, but it also has a street name in Vietnamese. Why? Because they came together in that particular community. This is where they was at, and decided, this is our community. We're gonna take a hold of it, and we have to do the same. We gotta come together. Now we talking about a lot of the things that's going wrong in the church, and those things need to be called out, because accountability is important. We gotta stop just blindly following any old person just because they're the head of the church and they want to call themselves a pastor, right? So we have to have some accountability, but at the same time, we have to start being a collective as well, and saying, okay, what's in our best interest, and who do we feel is going to serve our best interest in the church, in the local government, in the state government, and then maybe we can worry about national government at some other time. Once we all start coming together at the local and state level, then we can start, working on a nationwide thing. But first things first, we got to start in our own community, with the church and the politics, because, like I said, nowadays it is intertwined and it's them. So we got to look at it from all standpoints.
Well, I'm gonna take a different stance with it, B Dub, and appreciate you for sharing your thoughts about it. But I'm gonna have to disagree as far as like with the church and the politics, working for us, whatever. Because at the end of the day, both of them lying. So that's the reason why they lie in bed with each other. So that's just how I see it. Okay. Number two thing is this: our local government, our state government, our federal government, voting, all this stuff. Nobody has never done anything for us at all. Okay, none of it at all. And what's frustrating is our local government and the government period, especially when it comes right around time to, go to the voting polls. They use the church as their platform for them to get voted. Because when you go to a church during voting time election, oh man, you'll see all kind of banners, all kind of flags, all kind of posters on the church grounds, on the outside. People standing there giving you flyers. People don't look like you and I at all. Period. You might have a sprinkle of them inside there that's trying to get your vote or whatnot. But for the most part, you have outsiders coming into your community because they look at you as a number. All right. Now then, okay. So now the voting is, pretty much done and over with. You go back to that church, it's a ghost town. It is a ghost town. All the signs are pulled up. Those people that act like they care for you has long gone. They over with. The pastor at the church, he's not talking about no ceremonies or no sermons, talking about who need to be voting for, so on and for whatever, because they've already used his platform to get the votes of the people that's inside the church for them to, for him to go and say what he needs to say and try to get whoever it is that they're targeting to be able to be that elected official for that particular district or community or whatever the case may be. So I say all that to say is, yes, they are entwined with each other. Yes, they are. But I prefer for them to, like I said, because they both are lying. Both of them lying to the people at as it is, period. But, they both need to, we got to do something totally different, because EQ, B-Dub, Gentleman Jamal says something as far as like what we have to do to be able to do for ourselves. We got to be able to do for ourselves. We got to be able to, not put our trust into man. Don't put our trust inside the politics. Put our trust in God, the Most High, and pray that, he deals with, and everything, he going to deal with everything how he deal with everything. But putting our trust in and everything into politics and, in the government and our pastors, I don't know if that's the answer. We've been it's a wash, rinse, repeat type of cycle we've been going through.
No, I agree. I agree, and that's what we're talking about now. We're talking about how it has not been working for us. But what I'm saying is, that's the whole point. We have to start doing a little self-reflection, number one, and then we have to start doing our own research. Because you're 100% right. You can see all the banners, you can see all the stuff, and none of those people have anything to do with us. But if we stop allowing it, because we don't have to allow it, you have to remember the people have the power. And that's the craziest thing about it, whether you're talking about the church or the government. The people have the power. Because if you stop going to church and stop giving your money to the church, there is no church. Right. If you stop voting for these people, they have no more power. So how do we fix it? Number one, we got to stop anytime we see a young black man in the neighborhood that's a little bit taller than average, we got to stop telling him that he got to go play ball. That's number one. We got to start pushing our kids to be politicians, to be lawyers, and be a part of that process. We need more police officers, lawyers, politicians that come from our community who can come back to our community, so that way because that's what everybody else is doing. We don't see it. We think people just sprinkle some magic pixie dust and just stuff happens for all these other cultures. But when you look at the politics and you see this one, then you see Junior, then you see the nephew. The nephew is the governor over here. The cousin is the state senator over here, and the sister is a representative over here. Like, we have to start doing that. We have to start creating that. But in the meantime, we're talking about right now. So right now, that's something we have to start that'll make it better in the future. But right now, just simply stop. Stop blindly voting for a party like that. Because to me, that's the craziest thing I ever heard in my life, where people say, oh, I'm this or I'm that. I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, I'm liberal. That is the most insane thing I've heard in my life. Because what do I believe in? What do I think is right? And if you look at it, no one person is ever going to be 100% in line with you. So what you have to do, you have to look and see who has the most with my beliefs. And number two is you got to check their facts. Like, we act like the receipts are not out there. Because people can tell you whatever. If I get elected, I'm gonna give everybody a $3,000 stimulus check every 6 months, and that sounds great. But if you go and pull that person's history and look at their track record, they have a track record of voting against every single bill that ever said anything about giving anybody any kind of money. But hey, they said it on IG and they said it on the Good Morning America show. So hey, it must be right. Yeah, I'm gonna go vote for them. No, right. we gotta, like EQ said, we gotta start taking some responsibility and understanding that we have a role to play in this as well. And we can't just, we the Lord's sheep, but we can't be America's sheep. We gotta think a little bit for ourselves and start doing our due diligence when it comes to politics or the church.
Jim Jamal, you got anything to add to that, brother?
No, he summed it up. I think when you talk about religion and politics, what does any politician, they want our vote, they're gonna go to the black church. They know that's the quickest, easiest way to get to us. We're very, spiritual, religious, whatever, and it's like, okay, we start there. We don't have to offer you anything. We came to your religious leaders, right? Give you catfish nuggets or whatever, and be like, vote for us, and we go. And it's just, it hadn't served us. It just hadn't served us. I think it's time to pivot, and like EQ and as everyone has said, we got to start thinking for ourselves and moving another way. We got to move more strategic and not following blindly anything, whether it be religion or political party. Anytime you blindly follow a religious party just because you're not getting anything, they don't have to offer us anything, right? They know what black people traditionally are going to vote. They don't have to offer us nothing. They don't have to court us. They like whatever. And so, like you said, Mr. Know-it-all, voting, we can't vote our way out of this. We tried that, right?
Right.
We voted. I'm not even getting too political with it, but we voted a political party since we weren't allowed to vote, and we still are not being served properly. We still at the bottom. And at some point, we're going to have to pivot and do better. And I'm going to leave it right there. I ain't going to go into
man, Jim Jamal, listen. Last year, with last year with Biden and Harris, don't you know that their political party, they were talking about Chucks and Jules or Chucks and whatever. Everybody inside the church was talking about Chucks and Jules. What was the little slogan they were saying?
And pearls, but that was a sorority. It was
Yeah.
But he used that to his advantage, and people was walking around talking about Chucks and Pearls and posting it on social media. I'm saying to myself, man, you guys that's our people. You know, they know exactly, you know, what to do and what to say. Very cunning in their ways to get our attention. You know, and then the minute that these people, you know, the politicians, the pastors use us, that nowhere to be found. I ain't heard what's her name? Kamala. I haven't heard her since. I don't know what she do. You know, I ain't heard Pastor, you know, Chicken Wing and Reverend Pork Chop talk about nothing else since then.
They gonna offer you chicken and catfish nuggets and all these, and that's all they're gonna give you.
And some Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that's it. We did that.
Yeah,
but you got to vote anyway.
We dance for y'all. We do this. Y'all don't give us the vote. We tired of that. Them days are over. That is over. We're not doing that no more.
But we had to vote for him, because if you don't vote for him, you ain't black, right?
Right. That's what they say. That's what they said. And I'm saying to myself, y'all can play that game with somebody else, because that dog don't hunt with me. You know, it don't hunt with me at all. So here's a question. Go ahead, B-Dub.
No, I said I voted for Kanye. So
right. Give him a shot. Give Kanye a shot at it. Yep, he's independent. Let's see what he can do. Because, you know, both the Democrat and Republican Party, I feel confident in neither one of them. So, you know, that's just how I feel about that. So let me ask you guys this question here. Okay, y'all know the pastor Creflo Dollar. All right. So when he had came out and did his conviction sermon, that's what I call it, because he felt convicted when he came out and talked about the tithing, and that he had been preaching the wrong doctrine about tithing. Okay, but before he preached this sermon about the tithing doctrine, he had told everybody this. He said, "Look, every video, every CD, everything that you guys have of me preaching about tithing, I've been teaching the wrong doctrine in tithing. Go ahead and delete everything that you guys have heard me say." But before he even said that, the conviction was very hard on this guy, because he says, "I know for a fact that I'm going to get a lot of backdraft. I'm going to lose friends." He had gave a disclaimer about what it was that he was going to get ready to talk about. And the minute he opened his mouth and, you know, gave the spiel and gave his conviction about tithing, a lot of pastors, they started pouring in, because I'm believing that pressure was laid up on them as well. Because the pastor, the congregation looking at him like, "Whoa, pastor, you know, one of the mega preachers, you know, had came out and said tithing doctrine was wrong. What's up, pastor? We need some answers here." How do you guys feel about the pastor Creflo Dollar saying that he felt he was going to lose a lot of friends in ministry because of what he had been convicted to say? If that make any sense.
Of course he's gonna lose a lot of friends. Let me ask you this: if you were sitting at the back of the classroom and your friend sitting at the front of the classroom, but y'all both cheating on the test, but he get caught, or let's not say he get caught. Let's say he have a sudden hit of conscience, and he say, "You know what, teacher, I can't turn this test in. I cheated on it." But DeAndre cheated on it too. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna be upset too. He putting it on blast. He putting it on blast. And so yeah, he messing with the church's money, literally. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't watch the video. I heard about it. Somebody at work was kind of telling me about it, explaining it to me. But I didn't see the video. But yeah, that's of course you're gonna get some backlash. Anytime you putting the secrets, that's just like that magician a couple of years ago. videos giving away all the magician secrets of how they be doing these tricks. They were mad at him too, of course. You messing up the church's money. Oh,
Right. Hey, we got some comments in the comment section. I'm going to read them. Barbara Sim says, no, Andre says, you know what I call these churches? Lukewarm ministries. Barbara Sim said, sheep led to the slaughterhouse. That's why you study for yourself. And Marilyn Williams says, John 14:26, but the Comforter, which is the Holy Ghost, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you. So these are the comments that were said just not too long ago. But yeah, I agree with you, B Dub, as far as like with Creflo Dollar, saying what he said, and the pastors that was in his, that's so-called in the same ministry as him, how they felt some kind of way behind all that, because with these men of God that's there, when you got your congregation that you've been, saying, teaching about, tithing and offering, and now you don't took them for a ride for however long you've been on that, pedestal or behind a pulpit. Yeah, you definitely have been in a hot seat, and have to explain yourself to these people and say, and talk about it or whatever, man. And I'm sure that's an uncomfortable situation and a comfortable spot to be in, to be a pastor, to be able to talk with your congregation like that. That's very uncomfortable. Jim Jamal, you there?
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jim Jamal.
I'm gonna say real quick. What I try not to ever do is publicly talk bad about an individual, black male individual. My criticism is for the system as a whole, as the black church, because we can do a Creflo Dollar anywhere near you, right? We can go to the pastor in Brooklyn. I mean, it's ridiculous. And if anybody tried to defend such actions, I have to question your mental capacity and ability to think for yourself. So I just think too much is, they call it, is given, much is expected, or whatever. I think black society gives a lot to the black church. I'm just simply saying the black church owes it to black society to do more and do better, much like the old church. We can talk about religion as a whole separate show, and that's another one. But I will say this, just like you would do a political party, black society has overwhelmingly voted and supported one party over the other predominantly, and they've given us nothing. And I'm not saying black church has never done nothing, because it's not the same black church that it was before. And at this point, I can say that it is underserving the black community, and it needs to do better. And I'm gonna leave it right there.
Yeah. Well, if you don't want to talk about the religion, I'm gonna talk about it. I'll go ahead and put it on that though, whatever, because if you look back in history, all right, when we were slaves, religion was put on us. It was given to us. We were already spiritual by design. We already were spiritual by design. But if you look back in history, for them to further let us not know who we are and our spirituality with the Most High, they had to be able to give us that religion and beat that into us, so that way we can no longer be able to identify ourselves and have our connection with our spiritual creator. You see what I'm saying? So that's the reason why they push that religion into you. They push Christianity. They push Baptist. They push all that poison in us, so that way it can further disconnect us from our spiritual father, man. So that started with us in slavery. And when they were teaching that, when they were teaching that doctrine to us while we enslaved in slavery, they had to instill it in us in fear too, because they wanted to make sure they did a well job well done on us. So that's the reason why they whipped it into you, they beat it into you, they burned down your churches. They did a lot of stuff, man. So that way, again, because they knew exactly what they were doing when they implemented their religion and their custom to us, whatever, because we wasn't like that. We were already spiritual people by design in the beginning, if that make any sense.
Yeah, but again, that whole breakdown is a whole nother show.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'm trying to keep
it's
I'm trying to keep it real specific, but yeah, you're right. But we
right.
Sit down. That's a whole other show.
Right. Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah, it's that's definitely in for another subject itself. But it did start in slavery, man. It started in slavery, and with the different religions, there was a whole bunch of religions that they put on us, and we just got indoctrinated that, and they made sure we stayed with that, to stay with that indoctrination, and they did a lot of stuff to us, man. A lot of cruel stuff to us too, man. To the point to where we still take on those same indoctrinated religious activities to this very single day. And we're talking about hundreds of years of that poison inside of our people, man. And that's the reason why it is very tough to try to tell somebody that's in these religions on how and what they need to do to wake up and get it out of this sleep and slumber that we in, because this is a sleep and slumber that we in right now. So let me ask you guys this, okay? And we're gonna let me read the comments before we get started here. Barbara Sims says that's funny, bougie. And then Barbara Sims says Creflo done stole dollars. Creflo, boy, you know what? But you know what though, man? It takes a lot. And speaking of Creflo Dollar, it takes a lot for a man to say, you know what? I've been wrong. I've led you guys, wrong. I've been teaching the wrong doctrine. It takes a lot for a man to get up there and say that. Now, if he meant it, or if he did or didn't mean it, that's on him. But I still give the man a little credit, saying, look, man, this man went out in front of the world, especially with the platform that he has, for him to say, man, I've done wrong by people, and I want to say this and make it correct. So I give the brother applause. The brother get applause on my end here. Okay, so the next question here, the final question that I have here, is when you look in our
that the churches, the community is all, busted up and in shambles. And remember, I gave you guys a scenario
earlier talking about, you have the mega church, in the rough area, but then on the corner you got the prostitute, then you got the the homeless guy on one corner, and you got the liquor store on the other corner. Okay, do you guys believe that the churches are putting in works or trying their best to put in works to actually fix what's going on inside the community, or you think it's just all smoke and mirrors? What do you guys think about that?
I just think that some churches, like we said before, there's still definitely some churches out there that are doing the best that they can for the community. Unfortunately, I think a lot of times it's the smaller churches. I think the bigger churches are doing what's best for the church. So but it's really hard to say. But I'll give you this. I'll give you this. So there's a church here in Houston. I'm not going to say the name. That's in a certain part of town. That's exactly how you describe it. It's an older neighborhood. The houses are a little bit older and kind of starting to run down a little bit. It's not a lot going on in that neighborhood. And there used to be an apartment complex right, not even a quarter mile away from the church that was like the most well-known drug complex in Houston. Like it was literally like training for new dealers on the corner. Because like if you couldn't sell nowhere, you could make money easy. Like it was known for being that run over with drug activity or whatever and other types of activity. All right. So there's a church that was right there in that community, small. It fit in the neighborhood, right? So fast forward, 15, 20 years later, that neighborhood is different, except for the fact they did finally do something about that apartment complex. They tore them down. They built the community, so there's some new houses, new development houses over there. Cool. But other than that, that neighborhood looks generally the same as it did 15, 20 years ago. However, that church has gone from a little building to a big old huge complex with a gym, a separate gym, look like the YMCA, got basketball courts, huge parking lots. Like it's this big, huge fixture in this community that still looks the same. So I'm just gonna put that out there, and I'm gonna leave that like that.
Wow. Yep. That's exactly what happens too, man. And like Jim and Jamal said earlier, that's what it is. It's a business, man. It's a business. We got a big mega church out here in Oak Cliff. I ain't gonna say the church name, but that church got it has its whole aquarium inside the church. Where they have live little fish and shark and baby sharks and inside the church. Matter of fact, that church was on a TV episode called Shark Tank. I mean, called Tanked Up or something like that. It was a big mega church. All right. So I ain't gonna say it now. You can look it up yourself, whatever. But I ain't gonna say the church name, whatever. But the church has you sell food in there. You sell clothes. You sell your books about what the pastor, what his interpretation of different Bible scriptures and all that or whatever. I mean, it's becoming like back in the time of in the New Testament, it's become a den of thieves, brother. You know what I mean? That's exactly what it's become. And when you see that, man, you got to call it out, brother. And it's it's just all messed up, brother. All messed up. And like I said, I went to that church before plenty of times. I'm like, you know what, man? This just don't feel right at all. And I know for a right, my spirit didn't sit right with me at all. Really, I really felt the spirit of me just going inside there and just flipping everything over, flip the tables over, flip over the drums and the piano, the instruments, going to the church store and just knock all that over, whatever, man, and take my chances of going to jail. That's how bad I felt about that. And put a hole inside the big fish tank aquarium and let all the water out of it. Yeah, man, that's just why I was on that particular day. So, yeah, man, but yeah, it's like that, brother. It's like that, and that's unfortunate, very unfortunate. Jamal, you got something to add, my friend?
I mean, what can you say after that?
Right. So we're gonna read some more. Okay, we don't have any more. Okay, all right. I thought we were gonna have some more here.
I will say this.
So
I'll be interested to invite any of the Black clergy that want to come and talk about it. Let's set up respond to some of the stuff and let's have a dialogue about it.
Right. I agree. Because here's the thing, though, and we're not, we just want to see our churches. We want to hold them accountable. Okay, we want to hold them accountable because, again, like I said, if you are a man of God and you're inside these churches, you should be able to, because iron's going to sharpen iron. That's what it says in the Bible. And also, if you call yourself wise, you'll be able to accept criticism and say, you know what, man, this brother or this sister, in Christ, they are right, man. We got to do something differently, instead of always trying to be offended or you get in some type of negative spirit or whatever because somebody's criticizing you, we got to put that to the side with us, man, and say we really need some actual leaders here to be able to lead our sheep, man, because we have a lot of people that's really sick inside these churches, man. They are very sick and they want to seek help. And when you're going to a church and you come in feeling a certain kind of way, negative or you're emotional or you depressed or you feel any kind of type of emotion like that, man, that church should be there as the to be there to get you together, to make sure whatever it is that you're going through, they're supposed to offer that help to you, so that way you can walk out of the church with your head held up high, saying, "Look, yeah, man, I came here feeling this kind of way, but man, I'm walking away. I found what I was looking for. I found the help I need, and and they helping us out, man. And I just want to be able to hold these people accountable, man, and let them know, look, man, we got to come up with a different way with them, man, because people are actually seeking God, man, especially during these last times that we in. They're definitely seeking them, and I would just love for them to continue just to work with us and help us out, man, because that's what God really loves us, man. He really do. Most High love us, and He hate to see the type of conditions that the church is in right now. So I'll just go ahead and just drop the mic on that. Before we go, let's see. We don't have any more comments. Okay, we don't have no more comments. Anybody got anything to add before we get ready to break free of this whole thing? Oh yeah, EQ said she had to leave because she had some things that's going on at her house that she had to take care of, whatnot. So EQ, we love you. We thank you for actually, joining the show as well. So appreciate that so much. Anybody got anything to add?
Nobody.
I just want to say this to all the pastors and preachers and future. Understand this.
Uh-oh.
Your job is to grow God's following, not your Instagram following. That's it.
And you dropped the mic. Right, and you dropped the mic right there. Yes, sir. Well, the burning coals bag of coals, giving you the bag today. We're going to say this, okay? Make sure, everybody, you pick up your Bibles, read the Bible for yourself, get an understanding, get your own relationship with God, because everybody's relationship with God is totally different. Everybody's walk is different, okay? But make sure you pick up your Bible, get a relationship with Him, get your understanding with Him, and do not put no trust into man or to your politics, anything like that, whatnot. Have a relationship with God for yourself, okay? So now that you got the bag, we are getting ready to get on out of here. But make sure that you stay tuned to the Burning Coals podcast. Next Tuesday, the next Tuesday show, we'll be talking about generational wealth. And we're going to have a long conversation about that generational wealth. And we're going to have a long conversation about it. So make sure that you stay tuned to it. And follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. We're going to be on Twitter. We're going to be on Twitch. So we say farewell. We definitely see you guys for episode number 6. We love you and have a blessed one. Good night.